And Pakistan finally gets its first points in the World Cup. Welcome to the shiny side. I'm your host, Faris. And after a few days, we have back on the show Faraz Qasim, live from Toronto, I believe. Faraz, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Fareez. How are you doing?
I think the last time we spoke, we were talking about what the right team for Pakistan would be. And it looks like the World Cup is almost over. I still use the word almost. But how do you feel? And by the way, Faraz was at I forget the name of the stadium, but in New York for the epic Pakistan-India clash, if I can call it that, on Sunday. So Faraz, how are you feeling overall and after that game?
Before we started, you asked me if I've recovered from the drive. I have recovered physically, but I've not recovered mentally from the game. I'm still there. I'm still there. 47 runs of 47 balls needed, and Jesse, it's like a I don't know a vortex of memory which keeps coming back. Like every time I close my eyes, I'm right back in the stadium. But no, mentally, I think it will take me. Plus, my 13-year-old twin boys, it affected them as well. But I think it'll take a while for me to recover from that. But it was good. It was a great experience.
I went into that day saying I'm expecting India to win, and so I can't possibly be disappointed. But Pakistan did what they do for 35 overs. They lowered me in, and then bam. So yeah. But
Yeah,
today's show is about today, I guess, right? So um, to kick things off, Pakistan won the toss and bowled, not a surprise there. We made one change. Saim came in for Ifti. So interesting, right? Because Saim's been opening for every game for Pakistan starting this year until the game before the World Cup, and he didn't open in the first two games, and now he's back. I mean, I know it's hard to answer that question without hindsight, but how do you look at that move this morning?
it's not really hard to answer that question, Faris. It's pretty simple because it's a two-pronged answer, I would say. First was that there was no way they could have played Iftikhar again because Iftikhar should not even be. He should not have been. Thing is, he should have been done after. At best, he should have been done after the 50-over World Cup. But then he did something in the PSL, or hum log PSL ko we somehow rated as a pinnacle of modern day cricket, and whoever does whatever, we just bring him in. So that's the reason he was in. So he should have not been close to the team anyways. So they had to kick him out. Now the problem is the team they've chosen. The only other option they had was Saim. So it's a matter of what you have available rather than going back to Saim as the opening pair. So this was very, very obvious, and it didn't surprise me at one
I mean,
bit.
it was also the least controversial view, right? Bringing Azam, other than the cricket will have its own repercussions. But fair enough. I guess the thing with FT is that the only innings of note I can remember is probably against South Africa in the last T20 World Cup, and I'm going back 18 months here. But even in that World Cup, the one thing that I can never forget is he played out a maiden against Adil Rashid in the final. Now, if you're playing out a maiden in like the 14th or 15th over of a T20 innings, that's just criminal, right? Like you go for 4 runs, 5 runs, but a maiden in T20, I mean, people probably don't remember this anymore. But so anyway,
Every
he's clearly
everybody remembers that made
so
it.
look, he's
Trust me.
clearly looked out of touch. He missed a couple of full tosses, so I guess the move was right. If you look at how the game started off, Shaheen didn't necessarily start off badly. In fact, I think it was interesting that in the first 4 overs of the innings, every single first ball was hit for four. So Canada managed to hit a boundary of the first ball of the first 4 overs.
Did you
And
did
they
you
were
did you
different
did you
bowlers.
did you did you just say Shaheen didn't start off that badly?
He said didn't start off well. I said because he
Oh,
went for
okay.
like 3 4 0.
Okay, I misheard. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think he didn't start well at all, and then all the bowlers went for a boundary in the first over. But I think somehow Shaheen came back well in the sixth, and in the power play we had them at 30 for two. What did you make of Pakistan's batting? Like I understand this is Canada we're talking about, and other than Johnson, it was pretty. No one really got going. But what do you make of the bowling given the conditions?
Yeah, bowling पे the first three balls of the innings were the microcosm of every problem we have in our bowling lineup. उन्होंने यहाँ पर अभी they just played India 48 hours ago. They know what works and what does not work. They know that the pitch, taking the pitch into the equation is the most important thing on this pitch. And what does Shaheen do? Shaheen has been doing this on every single pitch, trying to go in for the Yorker, bowling a full toss, giving away a boundary. Also giving away on a boundary on a pitch where boundaries are like gold dust. What
Yeah.
does he do? He doesn't learn crap from the first game, comes in, bowls a full toss. Okay, fair enough. He doesn't learn from that ball. So in चीजों से Faris, more concerning is the mental aptitude of the players. It's just not there. They're not smart enough. They're just learn.
Desktop game.
Sorry, they just don't learn from their mistakes at all. Babar ka bhi yahi masla hai. Babar keeps doing the same mistakes over and over, and we just keep making him the captain. And it's again, those three balls were the microcosm of the whole issue our team has, not learning from the mistakes. If Takhar ko khilai jao, Babar is the king. Babar, Faris, I wish I had tweeted this or had written it down somewhere so I could go back to it. Before India game, I told my kids, I told my friends on Twitter, on in spaces, even at the sitting at the ground, and my Indian friends who were around me, who I made friends with most of them, and I told them, I was like, Babar is going to get out playing the dab shot. Either he's going to get caught behind or he's going to under edge it on Arshti. He's going to under edge it. He's going to get out playing the dab shot. And he did. And like, if I can see it, and then he doesn't learn from that. He plays the dab shot again today and gets out. Like, what is going through their mind? Like, doing the same thing and I don't
Yeah.
even know what to say, man.
So
Not
yeah,
learning.
I guess Shaheen clearly didn't start well. And I guess that what's been a rare plus in this tournament is actually Naseem, right? So since he's come back from his injury, he hasn't necessarily looked really good, but somehow it seems to be coming together for him in the World Cup. I think he's probably been the best bowler across 3 days we've seen so far.
But he's doing the basics right. He knows that pitching the ball on a good length is the only thing. If what is that guy one of the players from Canada, a truck driver who plays cricket on the weekends knows if you pitch the ball on a length, even Rizwan and Babar cannot hit you. Why cannot Shaheen learn that? But Naseem thankfully did understand that if you pitch a ball on a length on this pitch, it's very hard. He did get hit initially as well, but he just figured it out. I mean, it's as simple as that. So it's just basic understanding of the game. It's nothing extraordinary. It was just basic understanding of the game, which you should expect from every professional international level player.
Yeah.
Nothing extraordinary, basic understanding of the game.
I guess we have to talk about Johnson, by the way. So I have never seen him bat before, but and obviously the T20 Canada plays internationals are against typically associate sides, but he averages, I think, 40 plus at a strike rate of 160. And today he made 52 of 44. The rest of the batters combined made 47 or 76. So it looks like if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have actually got to too many.
But it's Johnson की जहाँ तक बात है, I was wary of him before the World Cup, man. So I had heard about him in the Canadian circles, but so there was a podcast. I know you listen to a lot of podcasts as well. There's a BBC podcast called Stumped.
Yeah.
So he was on one of those podcasts before the World Cup. So obviously he is a Caribbean. I forget which island. He's from Caribbean. He's played domestic cricket there, and for a very long time he couldn't cut it, so he came here. He was working in some job, and then he somehow came into cricket. So he has a reputation, and I heard on that podcast like how fearsome hitter he is, and I was very और मुझे यही था मैंने कहा ये किसी को मारे ना मारे ये हमें तो मारेगा
For
because
sure.
we also have this reputation of making the stars. So I was not surprised. I knew about him. I had heard about him, and I was just waiting for us to give him a chance, and we did.
Yeah. So I guess if you look at Pakistan's batting, right? I mean, you probably go into a game against Canada even after the last two games in no-win situation. If you win, well, you won against Canada. But if you lose, it's Canada, right? So I guess this on paper, believe it or not, was the highest successful run chase at the stadium, which is six games old. But I guess it's been a really tricky stadium, right? Because if you look at the yesterday South Africa Sri Lanka game and South Africa Bangladesh, it looked like a replica of the Pakistan India game. And you had guys like Miller and Klaassen, right, who we've seen turning the games on their head in the IPL, scoring a strike of 200. They were scoring a strike of 80 each. So I think in that context, I'm not sure what to make of the chase. I mean, I guess we did our job. We finished 15 with 15 balls to go. I don't think run rate's going to kill us in this tournament. If we make it, it'll probably will be because of points on not run rate. But I guess Rizwan was solid enough to kind of make sure we get across the line. What did you make of the chase? And also, Syme came back, and you thought he just might do it this time around, but he didn't do it.
Yeah, अच्छा बहुत सारे there's a lot to unpack from what you just asked. Let's start from the last one, Syme. Yeah, this was from whatever I've seen of him, from whatever you've seen of him. I'm sure you understand that this was not the pitch for Syme, anyways.
Not at
This
all.
is not a pitch for free-flowing batsman. इसमें जॉनसन की हम बात कर रहे थे. If you go back to जॉनसन की दो चीजें थी. एक तो उसमें जान बहुत थी. He mistimed a slower one और वो छक्के पे चली गई. So that's why, and if you go back to his innings, he was playing straight. He was playing straight. He was not manufacturing shots. He was playing on merit. which Saim does not do. He tries to manufacture. So it was not Saim जो कि touch player है. He's not a power hitter. He's a touch player. So it was not a pitch for Saim. So I didn't expect him to do anything. Honestly, I did not expect him to do anything because excuse me, he tried a couple of shots and the ball just plunked into the outfield, so he didn't go. So that's number one. So I was not disappointed. I was disappointed, but I didn't expect Saim to do
Yeah.
much. And the run rate, okay. So a couple of things about the run rate. Number one, आज के मैच पे honestly it was not going to affect the run rate that much क्योंकि pitch इतनी slow थी. I knew people like after the inning break people were saying we're going to make the target in 12 overs. I knew 15-16 से पहले नहीं होगा at least. The reason being the pitch was so slow. Our players are not adapt. I mean they just don't adapt well. So I knew they were not going to be able to do it. दूसरी चीज़ है, अब देखो बहुत सारी caveats हैं इसमें. Let me okay indulge me for a second. So number one, if India beats America, India beats USA, and Ireland beats USA. By the way, we'll discuss the Florida weather in a bit as well.
Yeah.
So, but if USA gets beaten by India, and they also get beaten by Ireland,
Which,
so
by the way, is
essentially
the only way we can qualify, right? Those two results
exactly.
have to happen. Yeah.
Exactly, and then we beat Ireland as well. So so the thing is, if we beat Ireland and USA suffers right now, there's I think 0.4 का difference है, zero
Yes.
four something.
Yes.
So अगर अगर USA suffers back-to-back losses, so their run rate will effectively come down
Yeah.
anyways. So there doesn't need to be a huge.
Yeah.
So say they just need to lose two games, and मुझे तो अगर होता भी है गेम मुझे तो आयरलैंड को हराना ही मुश्किल नजर आ रहा है
Yeah.
हमारा. So even that
I
is a
mean, you're right.
far-fetched.
The reality is that if we were to kind of beat Ireland by 10 runs and USA lost both its games by 10, 15 runs, the run rate will probably be enough for the run rate to be fine. But the challenge is the USA losing to Ireland before we even look at the weather and then us also beating Ireland. That's the real question mark here, not the run rates, I think.
And weather is just नहीं वो match नहीं होने वाले. It's not even rain. It's flooding throughout the
And
week.
not just actually both the islands games. So USA Island as well as Pakistan Island both look like a disaster right now.
Yeah. Both of them got washouts. So basically, USA will qualify. So
And we may not see Pakistan in action again in this World Cup.
which will be not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, for mental peace. I mean, if you can hear my voice, my voice is not recovered from the game.
Yeah.
The amount of yelling and screaming we did. Well, and yeah, you know what? I don't. I've been discussing that day and the game on Twitter with friends for the last 48 hours. But yeah. But again, it won't be the worst thing if it's a washout because Super 8 में जाके तुम्हें क्या लगता है team transform हो जाएगी?
No, I
Somehow we're
mean,
gonna be.
obviously, right? I think it'll just kind of paper over a lot of cracks anyway, right? So, I mean, that goes without saying. But I mean, I guess a lot of we've discussed at length what needs to be done, and also I guess we'll come back after once Pakistan's World Cup is officially over, whenever that is, we'll do a bit more of a breakdown into what went wrong and why we saw it coming to some extent. But I guess as far as today's game goes, I mean, again, I think Fakhr came in and I guess he got out for not too many, but he was just doing what we needed to do. The qualification scenario, I guess, is simple, not easy, but simple. We need to beat Ireland and USA needs to lose its next two games, which are India and Ireland. So the first one, by the way, is coming up tomorrow. USA taking on India. Qualification issues aside, I'm actually looking forward to watching that game, by the way. Because what I liked about watching the USA, so obviously I saw them against Pakistan, so I wasn't necessarily happy. But what I liked about them is, unlike other associates, they looked like a really well-drilled unit. They did not look like a typical associate. Because associates normally, they may bat well and they may play some good shots and they go ball some good balls, but their fielding, the running the wickets, the game awareness was really strong. So I feel like tomorrow's game, USA taking on India, could be quite interesting to watch. What do you think of that?
Yes, दो चीजें. एक तो it's the pitch. So the pitch is a big factor in that game. So you never know. USA might pull off something.
Yeah.
But the thing about दो चीजें. USA की जो when you say they look professional, they look good. The reason is they are again very professionally built team. जो game we both saw the same game, right? And जो उसमें फिटनेस देख लो उनके जो इवन दो वो कोई आधे सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर हैं जो भी हैं दे वर फिटर देन आवर टीम दे वर क्विकर टू द बॉल सो दे आर वेरी वेल ड्रिल्ड प्रोफेशनल यूनिट दैट्स वन थिंग मतलब एक सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर नोज वेयर टू पिच द बॉल और हमारा जो फैल्कन है राइज ऑफ द फैल्कन उसको बॉल पिच करनी नहीं आ रही थी तो ही वाज बॉलिंग बेटर देन शाहीन So that shows you what यहाँ पर I mean वो क्योंकि वो सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर है तो उसका दिमाग ज़्यादा चलता है एंड दिमाग चलना जो है ना वो मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ 80% इट्स द ब्रेन ओनली 20% इज योर फिजिकल एबिलिटी सो यूएसए एंड इंडिया विल बी अगेन इंडिया इज मैंने ग्राउंड पे लोग मुझसे पूछे थे कि what सो मेरे हिसाब से फरीस the biggest difference between India and Pakistan at the day on the day was Indians looked because they play IPL they looked like professionals. They looked like pros. गेम से पहले हमारे सामने पाकिस्तान टीम ट्रेन कर रही थी. Indian team was on the opposite side. Not a single Pakistani player did the lap of the ground. वो अपनी बैटिंग उसमें every so दो के पेयर में इंडिया की टीम they were doing laps of the boundary and getting warmed up. उनका warm up और हमारा warm up was entirely different. It looked on a different like एक लग रहा था कि एक second grade की टीम है और एक professional level की टीम है. They were miles apart in everything. Ground में आपको जब जाके देखते हो ना तो बहुत बहुत सारी चीजें आपको नजर आती हैं जो आपको टीवी पे नजर नहीं आती लाइक छोटी छोटी चीजें they just looked more professional. So India would have looked into what went wrong against Pakistan in their batting and what they should not do. So I'm pretty sure they're going to really smash America, yes,
Do
tomorrow.
would you expect India? So India didn't play any specialist spinners. So the guys they didn't play are Chahal and Kuldeep. They didn't play Sanju Samson, and I'm trying to remember who's the other guy they left out of the squad. Do you expect them to make any changes for tomorrow, or do you think they'll go with the same?
Yeah, इस पिच पे I don't think they're going to be making a lot of changes क्योंकि वो जो चहल और कुलदीप को लाए हैं वो जैसे हम अबरार को लेके गए हैं तो अगर अबरार तो अब यूज ही नहीं होगा वो वेस्ट इंडीज लैग के लिए सो कुलदीप एंड सो दे हैव नो डाउट्स ऑन द एबिलिटी ऑफ दोस टू रिस्ट स्पिनर्स सो आई डोंट थिंक दे विल पुट देम आउट देयर ऑन दिस फील्ड बिकॉज अगर वो on this pitch, if they have a bad game, it might affect their confidence. So they know what to expect from those two guys when they go to the Super 8. So again, when I say professionalism, they know what to do. At most, I think they will probably bring in Saha for Dubai. Dubai is not playing. Dubai is not playing. I don't
So
think
the guys in the squad, sorry, are Jaiswal, there's Sanju Samson, and there's the two spinners. Do you feel like any of them will come in tomorrow?
Dubai for Dubai, I think Jaiswal might come because the lefty. I think for Dubai, Jaiswal might come in.
But that'd be challenging, right? Because Jaiswal is an opener and Dubai is batting at what 4 or 5. So I'm not sure how they would play that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if Jaiswal, they would expect Jaiswal. Yeah, what Dubai is doing on this pitch. This is again just a sign.
Sorry, Dubai didn't bat in the first match, did he, against Ireland from memory?
I don't remember at all. लेकिन इस पिच पर दुबे जिसमें साइम की बात कर रहा था प्लेइंग थ्रू द लाइन वाला जो प्लेयर है दुबे नहीं कर सकता इस पिच पे क्योंकि बॉल बहुत रुक के आता है सो जायसवाल इज अ मोर अकम्प्लिश्ड बैट्समैन इज अ मोर कंप्लीट बैट्समैन सो आई एम गेसिंग दे माइट मेक हिम अडैप्ट सो या फिर साहा को ले आएंगे द रीजन आई सेड जायसवाल वाज ओनली बिकॉज़ ऑफ द लेफ्टी थिंग
बट there's no Saha in the squad, there's Samson.
सॉरी
Sanju
साहा नहीं है
Samson.
Samson. Actually, Samson, मैंने IPL में I was so impressed by that guy. I was so impressed by that guy. I really hope and wish he makes it into the team and stays there because that guy is very impressive, man.
So, okay, good stuff. I guess let's see how tomorrow develops. By the way, just one more thing for us. We haven't really discussed on the show the England-Australia game, but I think more than that, I want to talk about how out of the 8 seeds, so-called seeds in the tournament, 4 of them are looking like they're on the way out. So I think Pakistan, of course, then Sri Lanka also. I feel like Bangladesh has done enough to be ahead along with South Africa.
Yeah.
New Zealand look in major trouble after one game. And the way Afghanistan has won that game against New Zealand with a massive run rate, it looks like possibly New Zealand, but otherwise West Indies are probably going to be getting out of the tournament as well in the first round. It'd probably be a major, like a lot would have to go wrong for Afghanistan not to make it. And then England, I was just going to come to. So England, first game was a washout against Scotland. And even though it was a 10-over game, Scotland made 95. So I'm not sure if England was saved by the rain or Scotland was. They lost to Australia and a massive win. And then Scotland has beaten Oman, thrashed Oman yesterday. So for England now, they have to win both their games against Oman and Nepal with massive margins and hope Scotland gets hammered by Australia. So also keep in mind that the Scotland-Australia game is the last game. So it could be a situation where Scotland go into the Australia game knowing that even if they lose, but they lose by, say, X runs, they can still make it. And who knows, right? We know what Australia did in 1999 when they did this whole go slow. So what do you make of that situation?
Before this game, and I was just having food, and I was listening to Cricket Info's podcast. Was it Switch It, right?
Yes.
Switch It, yeah, Switch It. तो उनकी उनकी podcast का title है Deja Vu All Over Again. So it's basically they were comparing this campaign so far to the 50 over World Cup, which happened with me. I think they had a rained off game and then they lost. So they were talking about England and how they are most likely going to be eliminated. So they were going through the permutations and the run rate and everything, and they seemed very pessimistic. I'm still halfway through the podcast, so seemed very pessimistic about England qualifying as well. And you know what? Misery loves company. So हम तो बाहर जा रहे हैं. So it wouldn't be the worst thing for a more bigger team. So we can say अगर ये नहीं होना कि all the expected teams go through and we are sitting out looking. तो अगर और भी team बाहर होंगी, so we can say, you know what? Look at them as well. Look at England.
You can probably see the glint in my eye as I made the point कि 4 seats बाहर जा रहे हैं, right? Like it wasn't
Exactly.
they're not the
So
only
yeah,
ones.
we're not the only ones, right? So well, पहले तो हम we used to hang our hat on कि इंडिया भी बाहर, देखो इंडिया भी बाहर हो गया, तो हम उसमें अब इंडिया तो नहीं बाहर होने वाला. So every major team that goes out of the World Cup from the group stage would be something that will give me satisfaction, because again
Yeah.
we'll be able to see, yeah, it's not just us. Look at them.
I guess it's
And they
also
didn't
about,
even.
right? If any of England's games are washed out, right, that's probably the end for them, anyway, right? Because they have to play Oman and Nepal, which is you'll
Yes,
think they would, yeah.
that's
So
that's another thing they were discussing in the podcast, that if they and from whatever they had researched, they said उनमें से कोई एक गेम है इनका which is likely to be rained off. So if that Oman और कौन सा वाला, so if that happens, they're pretty sure, क्योंकि स्कॉटलैंड ने रन रेट अपना इतना बेहतर कर लिया है
yes,
कि वो तो इंग्लैंड मोस्ट लाइकली, मैंने तो हम लोगों ने
England plays Oman
predictions.
and Namibia. Sorry, not Nepal, Namibia. That's they are the two games they have still left.
आज आज नमीबिया और ऑस्ट्रेलिया भी है ना शाम में. आई एम
Yeah,
होपिंग
yeah.
कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया टॉस जीतकर, मैंने जो प्रेडिक्शंस दी थी, दो ग्रुप्स हैं हमारे, मैंने प्रेडिक्शंस, सो आई हैव नॉट पुट इंग्लैंड इन द सेमीफाइनल्स इन ईदर ऑफ देम. माय सेमीफाइनल्स वर इंडिया, साउथ अफ्रीका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड द वेस्ट इंडीज.
You
सो
know what would be bizarre is if Afghanistan qualifies instead of the West Indies, one of the Super 8's group would become England, South Africa, USA, and Afghanistan.
इंग्लैंड, दोबारा बोलो, इंग्लैंड,
England,
साउथ
South
अफ्रीका.
Africa, USA, and Afghanistan. Because if USA qualifies, they will be in that group with South Africa. Sorry, not even England. If England go out and Scotland goes in, it could be Scotland, USA, South Africa, and Afghanistan.
सही है ना, इनको इनको वर्ल्ड कप को बेचना था ना यार, तो अच्छा है. इट्स अ बिग
Yeah.
big point of but man, it's whoever thought, I mean, we got to see the game, but in hindsight, whoever thought having a World Cup in USA is a great idea was probably on crack, because it was not. It was
Yeah.
Aja, just before we end, Wasim Akram, I love Wasim Akram, but Wasim Akram comes up with the funniest shit when he's commentating. अभी मैच खत्म होने लगा था तो वकार यूनुस गालिबन वकार said, this is the biggest chase on this ground, and Wasim Akram कहता है, yeah, but only in this World Cup. Why this ground didn't exist before the World Cup?
This ground didn't exist till 2 weeks ago. The first warm-up game was 2 weeks ago.
Wasim Akram comes up with the most funniest shit. But anyways, he's not even trying to be funny.
Wasim Bhai is a Wasim Bhai. But
Yeah.
good stuff. Those of you watching, by the way, if you have a view on who you think will end up in the top 4, please leave a comment. Faraz, thank you for being on.
Always pleasure, man.
And I'm sure we'll have you again later in the tournament. And those of you watching, we'll be back soon. In the meantime, stay tuned to the shiny side.